wanted to show you my Noodler's Neponset pen that I recently won in the Noodler's Ink contest. Now, I've been out gardening all day, so not shaved and hair's a mess, so sorry about that.
Well, that was a surprise, wasn't it? That was actually footage from my very first pen review, which I did on July 3rd, 2014. So, kind of amazing that I'm still doing it. I really didn't think I'd last this long, but here I am. So, I'll tell you a little bit of background, not too much background, but a little bit. So, I entered a contest. It was put on by Noodler's Inc., and the contest was to win a certain number of prizes. He had some prototype Neponsets. The Neponset had not been released, and so on. You just had to film an instructional video using Noodler's products, and then the one with the highest ratings won. Well, the one that won was a video had Dragon's napalm drop that came to life, and it deserved it. I mean, that one was pretty awesome. You can see my entry, and I'm going to guess my entry came in last, but there just were not a lot of entries. And that's why I won. So I won this Noodler's Neponset that you see beside me. And I won, let's see, a Noodler's Conrad. And then I won, just some pen parts and so on. And a little personal note from Nathan Tardif himself. So that was kind of fun. It was about a year later. So always enter. If you are so inclined, you should enter. You don't win if you don't enter. I'm not a fan of gambling, but this was a contest I was fairly certain I wouldn't win, and I won something. So this Noodler's Neponset, well, okay, you're asking how bad was the contest? This is a small snippet of my entry. And there's my outline, which is typed with notes written in Bay State Blue. And ignore the product placement behind it. I'm doing some rearranging in my living room. Okay. So as far as the picture goes, it takes place in a spaceship breaking yard. So this is supposed to be a spaceship here that's in the process of getting broken. You can see the beams sticking out here, little cross beams. Those I cheated a little and did not use Noodler's ink because all my Noodler's inks are waterproof, and I wanted something that would run. Well, that was awkward. So I have improved slightly since then. I'm now no longer filming on the iPad. So let's take a look at the pen. This pen, I'm going to close up here. This pen is in a finish called Solomon Silver. You cannot purchase Solomon Silver in the marketplace. This was a prototype of the Noodler's Neponset, and I got it before it was released, which is part of why I have so many views on this very first pen review. So, very large pen. Let me unscrew the cap here. So, ebonite grip section. Let me zoom in on the nib. Okay, so when you look at the nib, let's get better lighting on it. Double slit, so in other words, this nib has 3 tines because it's a music nib. This is a flexible music nib, which most music nibs are not. Ebonite feed. It looks a lot like a standard Noodler's ebonite feed. The difference between this one and the typical Noodler's ebonite feed is this one actually has a double channel, which just like in my original review, does not photograph well. Unscrew the barrel. You'll see I have barely like a drop of ink left, so hopefully it lasts enough through this video. This is the filling mechanism of a Noodler's Ahab. It's a plunger. Not exactly a converter, but it really is a converter. So put this puppy back on. You can find this pen in an ebonite finish, several different acrylic finishes. I think that's it. They don't have the vegetal resin that you can find the Conrad or the Creeper in. So what do I think? Well, I'll just cheat a little. I'm going to jump straight into a writing sample, and then I'll talk a little bit about what I think. So we're breaking in my new notebook that I reviewed just a few weeks ago. As a pen pal remarked just recently when I sent a letter, let me get a little close to that writing sample. But anyways, this pen pal remarked recently when I sent him a letter written with this ink, he felt that this pen shows off the narrows and the broads a lot better than some of the other pens I use. Well, of course it does. It's a flex nib. This is also a glittery ink. I don't use this pen as a daily writer. What it's good for is stuff like this, cards at Christmas and so on, or special occasions. Uh, I said I was going to start putting dates on, so today is December 20th, 2017. And I always write the word flex. That flexes. Yeah, that's flexible. And by the way, always flex on your downstrokes, not your other strokes, because you don't want to bend your pen or something. So let's see how she goes. Let's do a smear test. So there's no pressure. By the way, you can see up here, this is still drying. Oh yeah, so very wet pen. Wetness and flow. Like a lot of Noodler's pens, this one may take a little tinkering to get it to write exactly to your liking. But when it does, it's very wet and quite a nice pen. And then I always do reverse writing, even though I never practice that myself. Now I will tell you, this is a pen that's very awkward in the way this review is set up, because I'm sitting at an uncomfortable angle to write this, and with a flex nib you should write on the paper like this, not like this. This would be more of an oblique nib, so you got to write straight on, and it's very difficult with the angle I'm sitting, but I'm doing my best. But maybe you can see some of the gold sheen of this ink up here. It's starting to show up. This is still wet, but maybe you can see it. It's hard. I don't have good luck with this in video, and actually even in daylight it doesn't seem to show up the best. Okay, here we go. That may be a little too close. That's as close as we're gonna get. There you go. You can see the sheen there. I'm not. I for a brief while I got into those sparkly inks, but then I said, Isn't that sad? All right, so let's do our quote. So I'll just be honest. I'm no master calligrapher. And I told you the weird angle I'm writing at. I do not use this pen to its full potential. It's a fun pen to write with. You can also see from my writing sample here, it's very wet. This S is still not dry. Yes, you can write on lower quality paper with this pen, but maybe don't flex as much or use a faster drying ink, or you will get some feathering. This is a special occasion pen for me. I do not pull it out. It's not a regular part of my rotation. That said, I'm not planning on getting rid of it. I've talked about how I would like to reduce my pen collection. This isn't one I'm reducing out of it. But I will say this. If something ever happened to this pen, my question is always, would I replace it? And I guess I want to admit that, yeah, I would replace it, but I wouldn't be in a hurry to replace it. The pen is quite pricey for what it is. It's an Ahab with a different nib and a different feed. So, is it worth that big of a jump in price? And uncomfortable with this one, obviously, because I'm looking away from you. I would. I'm leaning toward no. I think that's a lot of money for what you get, especially if you get one that doesn't work and you need to tinker with it. I mean, I just think at the price point this pen is sold at, they need to work right out of the box. And I know I have a prototype, so mine may have taken more finagling than some of us than the production line. But I have read the same reports about the production line ones, the ones that are out now. It just seems to be a Noodler's thing, but it is fun, and it does do something that you don't have many pens doing, which is a flex music nib. Music nibs were designed originally to give you the very wide strokes of a music note and the very thin strokes. And I don't think many musicians actually write music with a pen anymore. I think those that compose by hand use a pencil because they play their melody and then they erase it and then they try a variation, and when they get it really good then they can typeset it using computer software. But I like this pen as a special occasion pen. So when I go back to my original review, I'll be honest, I intentionally did not watch the end of it to see what my original impression was. I watched the beginning because I wanted that little beginning in there, but I will provide the link. There should be an eye that pops up here somewhere if I can figure out how to do it. And then, of course, in the video description, I will have links to my contest entry and to my original review of the pen. So I hope that was interesting. Hope it was useful. I thank you for watching and wish you a happy holidays. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.